Okay, I hereby call the December 15th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting to order at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Glenn,
Here.
Commissioner Allen,
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter,
Here.
Commissioner Collins,
Here.
Commissioner McCabe,
Here.
Commissioner Zagarodny,
Here.
and Commissioner Scoggin.
Here.
And we do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, approval of agenda. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Any objections to approving the agenda as written? All right, hearing and seeing none, the agenda is approved. Pledge of Allegiance. Would Commissioner Zagarodny please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. On to the consent agenda. For the consent agenda tonight, we have the regular meeting minutes from December 1st, 2025. Introduction for public hearing quasi-judicial matters, there are none. Introduction for public hearing legislative matters. Resolution 25-25, a resolution of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission recommending approval of an ordinance amending MSB 8.55 special events to repeal the surety bond requirement standards. Public hearing date, January 5th, 2026. Staff, Alex Strawn, Planning and Land Use Director. Resolution 25-26, a resolution of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission recommending approval of an ordinance amending MSB 17.67 tall structures including telecommunication facilities, wind energy conversion systems, and other tall structures to reduce the minimum setback requirements for new telecommunications towers. Public hearing date, January 5th, 2026. Staff, Alex Strawn, Planning and Land Use Director. Resolution 25-27, a resolution of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission recommending approval of an ordinance amending MSB 15.24. Assembly zoning functions to update the process of initiating and amending lake management plans, and a resolution establishing a fee for processing requests for lake management plans under MSB 15.24. Assembly zoning functions. Public hearing date, January 5th, 2026. Staff, Alex Strawn, Planning and Land Use Director. Are there any objections to approving the consent agenda as written? Hearing and seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. Committee reports, none. Agency staff reports, none. Land use classifications, none. Audience participation, 3 minutes per person for items not scheduled for public hearing. If there is anyone on the phone who would like to speak about anything that is not on the agenda for public hearing, please press star 3. Anyone, Caleb? Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Seeing and hearing that there are no persons to be heard, is there any objection to closing audience participation? No objection. Audience participation is closed. Public hearing quasi-judicial matters, none. Public hearing legislative matters, Resolution 25-23. A resolution of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission recommending assembly adoption of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Hazard Mitigation Plan 2026 update. Staff, Tawny Boothby, current planner. Ms. Boothby, please provide your staff report.
Can you hear me? There. Is that better? Thank you. So,
Good evening. My name is Tawny Boothby. I'm your Borough Floodplain Administrator and current planner. And this happens to be one of the projects that I've worked on for the last 10 years as staff, and all the way back to the beginning in 2004 when we started our very first hazard mitigation plan. I'm going to give you a brief presentation on the plan. See if I can get this right. Maybe here. At the top one. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. So what is a hazard mitigation plan and mitigation planning? Essentially, and I'm not going to read these slides, I'm just going to review them. You will have a copy of the slides if you don't already. But essentially what the essence of a mitigation plan is that we are going to review what kind of natural hazards are at risk for the Mat-Su Borough. And obviously with a very large area, for example, down here you're experiencing these hurricane-forced winds. Up in Willow, they are not. So it can be a very diverse situation trying to identify hazards across the entire borough. But the effort is to reduce the loss of life and loss of property damage. Additionally, when we have an approved hazard mitigation plan, we're eligible for mitigation funding, and that's not just through FEMA. The Department of HUD also has a mitigation grant arm that requires an approved hazard mitigation plan. And recently, we are in the process of acquiring a grant. And so the policy guidelines changed in April of 25. And between the grant that we're supposed to be getting soon and that change, we actually asked if we could have an extension, and the state said no. So we did an abbreviated update to this plan so that we could add in the 2 new hazards, and you're going to see that. So components of the mitigation planning include risk assessment, the public involvement, mitigation strategies, and then monitoring, evaluate, and update. This is a 5-year cycle plan. So our current plan is in effect through the end of February of this coming year. So we are going to send it through you folks, hopefully for adoption of the resolution, and then on to the assembly, and then it will go to the state and FEMA. And because of the tenuous situation that FEMA's been in lately, we have gotten language from them to put into the resolution that says if there's any minor elements that are missing out of the update, that we can add those in and it will not have to be readopted. That's primarily because in the past we would have sent it to FEMA for a preliminary review, and they just didn't have the staffing or the ability to do that at this time. The one thing I did want to note down here, in the funding that is coming in 2026, we're going to be doing a detailed earthquake analysis and soils review. And since 2004, we've received nearly $37 million in mitigation grant funding. So that's what this plan has provided. So currently our hazards are these in the blue boxes. And I think we've all experienced one or many of these. And the 2 new hazards that we're adding right now are the tsunami hazard and the permafrost thaw landslide instability. So during the tsunami hazard analysis, which was done during by the Alaska Earthquake Center, they have determined what our maximum tsunami height would be. And then we looked at the elevations of the road beds between where that tsunami would be generated at, and then said essentially if you move to the 60-foot elevation level on our topo contour, and I realize that most people don't know what that is. But for in essence, if you were down Settlers Bay area, let's say, you would want to get up to the road. And then if you needed a place to gather, right now this gathering location is the Menard Center. Now, the Menard Center is just a general pre-identified location for gathering points when we need to do congregate sheltering. But there is a good point that down at Fish Creek, some of that area is lower, and in order to get up to the Menard, you would have to cross through a lower area. So we will be looking at other sheltering locations if somebody happened to be caught in the lower area and couldn't get beyond the Fish Creek area, as an example. So we're in the first phase of being awarded a grant to determine whether or not we're going to install tsunami sirens or not. We will install signage for the evacuation routes. And on the permafrost thaw landslide instability, we have notified DOT and started working with other partners regarding that hazard. So here is a really broad picture of what the Alaska Earthquake Center developed. Here is their website that shows all of the reports, the simulation video, the interactive hazard maps, and also gives a story map that tells about how this was all developed and created and what their analysis went into in order to determine the height of our tsunami. Here is our tsunami hazard brochure, which has been developed and has been handed out for a couple of years now. This is the back of that brochure, and it gives you just a little bit more detail regarding the areas. You'll notice our coastline is very wide. It's not defined like Seward is. So in Seward, they have more defined areas of evacuation. With this, you could be at Makatan's elementary school, and yes, you would need to get away from the area, but there's a lot of places to evacuate to, essentially, once you get past that 60-foot elevation. This is the Matanuska Narrows instability. So this goes back to the permafrost thaw landslide instability. And essentially what that is it's a big mass that is rock, which is also embedded with permafrost. So it has a very large ice content. And what several of the scientists who are analyzing these risks have noticed, and I know it's really hard to see in this picture, but on that picture of Alaska, and it's pointing to the area near Glacier View, they've determined that that area is a hot spot for these type of events. That particular hot spot includes things like Yellow Jacket Creek, Index Lake, this particular instability that they're looking at. Most of the instabilities don't impact a lot of people. This one is a particular concern because if you can see in that picture, and I'll show you another one. So this, let me see. Can you see? Well, I don't know that you can see it. Do you see that big slump in the center of this picture right above the word West Glen Highway? Right there. That is actually the Matanuska Narrows instability. And to give you context, if this entire mass of this slope were to let loose at one time, one of the residents up in Glacier View described it like this. It would let loose with enough tonnage that it would be a 50-foot wide 149-foot tall wall from Glacier View all the way to Anchorage, 100 miles long. So if you think about that, that's a 14-story tall building. So with it crossing the Glen Highway, not only does it create an economic issue in the state of Alaska, as well as the immediate residents right there, but if you look down at the lower section of the picture, that's a very narrow portion of the Matanuska River, and it's a very steep trench right in that area. So essentially it could block off the Matanuska River and dam that up. So response to that will be challenging. That's one of the reasons we notified DOT, because this is DOT's road and it is the state of Alaska's river. And there will need to be kind of an all hands on deck response if something like that were to actually happen. Now, one of the things I'd like to point out is in the hillshade here, this is a 2019 hillshade, you can actually see that the left-hand slide of the side of this, can you see it on that one side right there? It's actually slumped once before in the past, so obviously not the whole thing came down, but a portion of it came down. So it is possible, and like I said, there are other instabilities in this area. One of the ones that we're working with the scientist group that did the analysis here, but also with Victory Bible Camp, is there's a slide that is right above some of their staff housing at Victory Bible Camp. So with any good fortune, we will have some instrumentation placed up on that one to identify how much it's moving over time. So next steps, we're here today to bring this to you to hopefully you will approve the resolution. It'll go to the assembly and then it will go to the state and FEMA, as I mentioned before. We will still be getting that grant that I mentioned. It has been slow in coming, but it is coming in early next year. And when we do that, we'll be working with the Alaska Earthquake Center to do the liquefaction analysis with the earthquake and soils attributes. We're also looking at some other potential hazards that might need to be identified into the plan. Are there any questions?
Any questions, commissioners? Anyone on the phone? Okay. All right. At this time, then, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If there's anyone on the phone that would like to speak, press *3. Again, anyone in the audience like to speak? Okay. All right, seeing and hearing no other persons to speak, any objection to closing the public hearing? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 25-23.
Commissioner McCabe, I'll move 25-23.
Thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter, I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioners McCabe and Carpenter. So Commissioner McCabe has moved the resolution, and Commissioner Carpenter has seconded it. Is there any discussion to be had today? Any discussion on the motion? All right, then I'll ask, are there any objections to approving Resolution 25-23 as written? All right, seeing and hearing no objections, Resolution 25-23 has been approved. Thank you, Ms. Boopy. Correspondence and information, none. Unfinished business, none. New business, none. Commission business, elections. Anyone have a nomination for chair?
I nominate that we continue with Chair Allen.
And I'm only going to do it if Commissioner Glenn agrees to hang on his vice.
I agree.
Okay.
You stay right there.
All right. I guess, do we need a vote for the status quo? Any objections to retaining the status quo into the next, how long is the term? What do we get? Yeah, what do we get? It's just, I believe it's just 1 year. All right. All right. So I think we have a unanimous decision to maintain the status quo, and appreciate that. I hope I don't let you down. All right. Upcoming Planning Commission agenda items. Do any commissioners have any questions about the future items provided for your folder? Any questions at all? All right, gosh, this was a little quicker than I expected. I'll leave it at, I guess now we're at Director and Commissioner comments. We started at this end. Commissioner Glenn.
Yeah, not much of a comment. I'm happy to have you back as chair. We'll let you off on your 81st birthday.
Okay.
So, thank you.
I guess I'm next in line, and if you want to kill some time, we would welcome a speech. Merry Christmas, everybody. I really enjoy serving with all of you. I hope you have a safe and happy holiday season.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Rick for stepping up there and staying with us here, and everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you serving us. Hope everybody has a good holiday. Prayers and wishes with those who were in the shooting, the victims and families of those people, that they get that straightened out. Other than that, again, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Nothing for me, just thank you everybody and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Commissioner Collins on the phone. Any comments?
Yeah. Thank you for staying in on the appointed chair there. Greatly appreciate that in your service to both of our chairpersons and McCabe. Thank you for everything that you've done, and Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Holidays, and we'll see you the first of the year.
Thank you very much. So I would echo everyone's sentiments. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Many of you know my father. He just turned 83 years old, and I'm going down to visit him for Christmas, so I'm looking forward to that. I will be flying though. I'll be flying home the day of our next meeting, so you'll be on the hook there, Commissioner Glenn.
When is our next meeting? What's the day?
That'd be January 5th.
Yeah, and I'll be gone as well.
So I won't even be able to call in. I'll be at 30,000 feet. So that'll have to be figured out, I guess. But with that, I appreciate it, and again, all the best to all of you and all of your families for a warm, happy holiday season. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wade Long, Development Services Manager. First off, I'd like to introduce Ashley Stick. She's going to be backing up Lacey for Planning Commission meetings. So she'll be clerking.
Welcome.
She's current division admin for planning. I'd also like to thank Tawny and Becca Scott Hogg for putting together this abbreviated version of the hazard mitigation plan to get us up to speed. But it's legit plan, but we had very limited resources, so adding those two hazards were pretty impactful for this plan. So very good work for you guys engaging the public, also getting after the grants so that we have a chance to mitigate these hazards. Also, I'd like to, like a broken record, state that we have a lot of legislative items coming up for the January 5th meeting. Please get in touch with planning staff or Director Strawn for any and all questions you may have. And Lacey would like to offer something up.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I did receive a couple of transmittal forms for some land use classifications for January 5th. They do not need introductions, so that will be the only time that it is heard. And one of them is a shooting range on Zero Lake road, and it is a big topic, so might want to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you bet. All right. Well, with that, I'll call this meeting adjourned at 6:25 p.m.
The conference has ended. You will now be disconnected. Goodbye.